Hello, hello. Hello to all the new joinees. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, you are audible. You can start.
All right, all right. So, a very good evening to everyone who has joined up today. Let me just project my screen. Okay, my screen is visible, right? Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Rajat. Okay, so today, in our agenda, we have different things, right? According to, like yesterday, we explored like what Flutter is and how to install Flutter. What's the language Dart? Where is it used? How is it used? And what are the required component, the basic components, right? And we understood how to create our first application. We understood how to create widgets and what are the kinds of widgets. What's PubSec and from where you can get all the packages. So for that, we have a package directory in Flutter that's called pub, okay? And you can access it via the website pub.dev. Also, you can access the documentation. And for documentation, we have flutter.dev/talks, and we also discussed few projects which people made, created. All right. And today in our agenda, we have Dart Advanced. Okay. Yesterday we are done with quick revision, and today we will just discuss Dart Advanced. So, though it's advanced, but still there are a few new joinees in the event. So I'll just take a basic wrap up of Dart, and then we'll proceed to some more complex concepts. All right. So I hope it's fine by all the people, right? Okay. So are we good to go? Cool. Okay. So yeah, Dart is a language Flutter uses for creating cross-platform applications. We discussed it in detail yesterday. All right, and here are a few notes about what Dart is. So it's an object-oriented language. When I talk about object-oriented language, I'm actually talking about lifelike objects which you can create inside your code, and you can use and reuse and modify and extend them. Okay, and it's a statically typed language, which means it always requires a type. Let's say if you are creating a function, then it should have a return type. And likewise, if you are creating a variable, it should have a type, right? It can be a string, it can be a number, it can be a boolean. Okay. So Dart has a C style syntax. So if you are familiar with C, C++, C Sharp, JavaScript, or Java, so this syntax will look very familiar to you, and so that's a good thing coming from the basic programming background. So you'll have much more independence to experiment, create, and generate your projects. Okay. And Dart has a good transpilation independence. That means it's able to transpile its code into multiple platforms, whether it's Swift code, Kotlin code, Java code, JavaScript code, and likewise. Okay. So that's just short brief about Dart. And we have, if you want to experiment with that, if you want to create few short programs, if you want to try out that regex logic which your application is using, okay, if you want to create some basic applications, logical applications, then you can play in this playground. It's called Dartpad. It's the official playground where you can just create things, and it should not be used for creating real life projects. You can just create and play with snippets. All right, cool. Okay, then like what is a variable in Dart? How to create a variable? So you will just write var and create a name. So let's just uh, open Dart. Okay, so let me just project my entire screen. Okay, so this is Dartpad, right? Cool. And this is my username. So you'll get this username, a unique username, whenever you just open up your Dartpad. Okay, and like every Dart program, you always need a main function because that's what your compiler always tries to find out. Okay, That's what your code always tries to find out, like where is the main function. If you don't have a main function, you cannot proceed further. Okay, screen is not visible. Dear moderators, Dharamveer is having some issue with the screen visibility. Is it visible to rest of the people?
Yeah, it's visible. You need to reload the window.
Okay, you want me to reload this Dartpad window, right?
Not for Yash, for the Dharan.
Okay, okay, cool. Cool, cool. Okay. I hope it's fine, Dharamveer. Thank you for letting us know. Anyways, now we are on this website called Dartpad, where you can play with the Dart code. Okay. So, like I mentioned previously, we always need a main function to start with. So let's create a main function. I hope the text size is okay. All right. So you can see main function always has white written over here, or So whenever you create a function, you have a return type. Okay. In this case, since main function will not return anything, in case of C, you might have seen int main. Okay, int main, and then you write return 0. So that 0 is an integer. That's why you're writing int at the left side of the function name. Okay. And main is a special function. You cannot create another function with the same name. Okay. So you just have to keep this in mind. And yeah, so we are not returning anything out of this function. So we'll be keeping it void. Okay. Now, like any other programming language, the first thing you do is that you create a hello world program. Okay. So I'll just write and print. So I'll go fast today. Okay. Hello. And I will just run it up. So I got the hello, right? I want to create a variable. So to create a variable, you just have to write var and type name. And let's say the name is Yash. Now I just want to print this. Okay. So the name Yash got printed, right? Okay, cool. So now, what else do we have? So that's how we create variables. So you can see I have named it here var name Yash. So var just lets me know that this is a variable and this is the name of the variable and this is being initialized to a particular thing, a particular component. So in this case, it's a string called Yash. So this part is called initialization of variable, and this part is called first init of the variable, that is declaring a variable. Okay, cool. So in this case, I have a var name and I have a function called my name. Okay, so I'll just go here. I'll create another function, and what that function will do, it will just print out my name, what my name is. Okay, so my name will be a string. Absolutely, I cannot write my name Yash in form of numbers, right? So it needs to be a return type string. Okay, so I will write first the type, return type of the function, and then I will write my name. Okay, and then I will just return Yash. Okay, and now since this is returning Yash, right? This my name will return Yash, so I can absolutely rename this part with the name of the function. Okay, so what I'm expecting here is that I'll be returned a name, my name. So I'll see Yash right here again. So let's try to run this. Okay, so I got the same output. So that's how you create functions, and functions return value. So if I make it here int, so you can see Flutter Dart is again shouting at me that you cannot assign it to be integer, and if you're returning string. So Dart has this shouting procedure where it just tells you if you're doing something wrong. Okay, cool. So let's make it string again. All right, so it works fine. Cool. So let me just open up for a reference. Okay, cool. Okay. So like if I want to print my name and I want to write like my name is Yash, right? What I'll do is Can we use where everywhere instead of using any type? Yeah, actually, Dart will specifically identify whether what it is. So if you want to particularly, Varun, if you want to particularly, write something like, let's say, I can explicitly name it as well. So I want to type my name as something like this. Okay. So that also will work fine. Okay. Now let's come to this part. I want my name to be written. So my name is, and then I will add this. So this will print my name right here. My name is Yash. So that's how you combine strings with the variables. Okay. Now there's one more thing which we have. It's called string interpolation. So what I can do with string interpolation is that instead of writing this plus thing outside the string quotation marks, I can write it inside this only. So for that, we have this famous, like multiple languages use it in the same manner that you add a dollar sign, okay, and then you write it up like this. And again, this will redirect us the same thing. So my name is Yash. Okay, this is string interpolation, and that's how you call up the variables inside your string. All right. So let's say name has a property. Uh, okay. Actually, in Dart, Varun, they are particularly, they don't have much differences. But when you are dealing with, calling up data from the backend, then you have to make sure that you have quotations totally taken care of. Okay. It totally depends upon the use case. Even in case of backend, you would encounter such things. But that's totally dependent upon what other worker or middleware you're using. Okay. So particularly working with in case of Dart, you don't have any issue. If you want quotation marks inside, let's say you are writing a dialogue or something, okay, then you can use outside single quotation mark and inside double quotation marks, and vice versa works the same way as well. Okay. All right. So name, since name is a string, name has a property called length. Okay, which just tells us that what's the length of this word. So in case it's 4, right? So I will just print name dot length. So I should expect 4 here, right? So here it is 4. Now, what if I want the same thing to be done inside the string interpolation thing? Can I write name.length? Okay, let's try to run this. Okay, so what it's doing is it's just printing .length, and we don't want that. We want the interpolation to be successful. I wanted here my name is 4, right? So that's why we need to use brackets. So these curly braces actually allows you to write string interpolation with the help of this dollar sign notation inside the string itself. Okay, and it's always a good practice to use this to avoid any complexity or errors. Cool. So now it's printing my name is Yash. So make sure to avoid that confusion, you always use these curly braces. It's a good practice. All right. Okay. Cool. Now, now this my name. There's one good thing about Dart, and in case of Flutter as well, whatever editor you're using, whenever you tap on a particular variable, it just tells you like what is the type of variable. So in this case, it's string. Okay, and length is a integer, so it's telling us int, and it gives us the length of what string. So you can get the documentation right here, right there. Okay, cool. Now we have different other, these are called actually methods, and methods are applicable on multiple things. Okay, list have different methods, string has different methods, and maps have different methods likewise. Okay, so let's try to change this. I want to change my name to something like 123. Now I expect Dart to shout on me again. So why is this happening is because name has already been assigned the type string, and you cannot change that in the course of your program. Okay, so you cannot change that. Or like if I type here true, then also I cannot change that because that's totally immutable. The type which you are defining particularly, it cannot be changed in the further course of your program. Okay, cool. So what we discussed what variable is. So we typed var and the name, so name of variable, and then we declared a function my name, and that my name function was returning us a string, which was our name, right? And this part, the left side part, beside this equal to symbol is called variable declaration, and this including equals to plus the component, then it's called variable initialization. All right, cool. So we wrote this function called my name, and this is the name of the function. This is the return type of the function. And here inside these two round brackets, you can write your arguments. So this is for writing arguments. So it's called argument list. You can type in here. And this is the body of the function. So currently in our case, I just wrote return Yash. Okay, like in this case, it's Stephen. So this is the basic syntax of a function in Dart. Okay, so what happens particularly is whenever you start a Dart program, first of all, it starts to find the main function, and the main function starts running the remaining code inside it. Can we use dynamic? Yeah, absolutely. You can use dynamic, and you need not to explicitly write dynamic. Flutter, the Dart VM absolutely understands what kind of variable it is. So let's say if you write dynamic name equals to Varun, so you'll be writing Varun inside those two quotation marks, right? So Dart will be easily able to understand like it's string already, and the dynamic thing which you define particularly, it will be redirected in form of using it as a string. Okay, so you don't need to write dynamic explicitly. Flutter actually understands it totally. So I can give you an example. Okay. So this was declaring variable var, and this was variable name, and the equals to sign, and this is called variable initialization. This is called declaration. Cool. And this is the type of function. This is the name of function. Here you can write the arguments, and this will return Stephen. This entire thing is called functions body. Okay. And the program starts up. It finds main function, and main function executes rest of the code. So Dart has types, multiple types. So every value has a type, and every variable has a type. So if I write a variable like here, let's create a variable and name it season, and write it summer. So you can see now the season can't be. Okay, cool. So now season, I click on season, it's telling me it's string. So variable did not have any type defined, okay? But still this var was by default understood as dynamic type, okay? So this dynamic type got assigned to type string as soon as we provided a value to it. And the value was what? String. So if I type it 1, 2, 3, and now check the seasons type, then it's int, that's integer, okay? If I type here true, so what's the type of season now? It's bool. So this is the variable type, and this is the value. So value is absolutely a type, right? So it's a type boolean, and it's a type integer, right? So likewise. So this is what it says, that every variable has a type it can reference, and once a variable has a type associated, the variable's type cannot change. Okay. So if I try to change season, I'll give a new value to season now, and I will give it a value, let's say so. Now Flutter will again shout at me that I cannot assign this value because it's already been declared as an integer, as a number. So this third point is clear, I guess. And we don't always have to annotate types. Dart can actually guess what's going on. Okay, so like in this function, I have declared string, right? In this function, I have declared a string. What if I remove it? Just a minute. Okay. Yeah. So previously I had string written over here, right? Now I will remove this. I'm not assigning any type to this. Let's try to run this. it is still running just fine. So why is this happening? Because when I tap on this, you can see now the type has changed to dynamic. Okay, I did not give it any type. So now it is dynamic, but when I get the data right here, okay, right here when it's printed, it turns up into string. All right. So that's what dynamic means. So Dart VM actually understands what's going on behind the hood, and it tells you like which kind of data type it is. But this thing of identifying which kind of data type it is, this is called type checking. And type checking is a very hefty task when it comes to long or big projects. Okay, because type checking is actually just comparing what kind of data type it is. So there's a process initiated just for doing this task. And when you're working on big project, these small processes will add up into more infrastructure costs. Okay, so it's better to always define an explicit type to it. So if I'm returning a string, so I will not give extra headache to my compiler or my machine. So I will just explicitly type string here. It's a good, when it comes to time complexity, it's a good thing to keep a check on the types you're defining. Okay. Okay. Actually, I did not try this code, but let's just. Okay, is it running fine, Varun? Like, did you try to run this? Anyways, so yeah, these were the types: string, integer, double. Double actually means decimal values. Integer means int values. String means like the string values separately. Like you can use single quotation marks or double quotation mark, doesn't matter. And dynamic type, like it is able to identify what's going on on its own. Okay, so like I discussed previously, why types are important. So if you are defining explicit types to something, so you have less pressure, less load to put on your machine. You are actually just giving it what it has to calculate under the hood. Okay, so it's a good thing to always give them types. If you want your function to return an integer, then always explicitly define the int to be its type. Okay, and when you're working on large project, it's really very good to work with, because you have every error to be caught upon, and you need not to write extra test for that. Okay, so when people write, they do widget testing, unit testing. They go over their code and find whether what's the error, no, what's not the error. So you might be aware about this invisible WhatsApp message you are receiving, right? Like there was this prank people used to do. They used to send this symbol which was invisible as soon as you send it on WhatsApp. Okay. So what was happening actually is that UTF character in particular was not into the WhatsApp's WhatsApp's array, like WhatsApp's catalog of characters. So that's why people were able to see those empty or invisible WhatsApp messages. Okay, so this is why, because they don't have a particular check on it. Okay, so it's an analogy you can think about. Similarly, if you want a user to enter a username without numbers, right? And if you don't want the numbers, then you can absolutely define it to be string. But what if you don't define it and you define just var? Okay, if you define it var, then people will be able to give out the data in form of alphanumeric values, and you just want them to be in string. So your processor, your computer has to do check under the hood what's going and what's not going to happen. Okay, so let's say I have a name value here, and then I'm printing name dot length. Okay, I'm going to run this, and you can see I get the value 3 here. Okay, now what if I do this as 1 2 3? 1 2 3 is actually let's make it sum. Okay, so I cannot use it like I was able to use previously, because sum is of type integer, and integer does not have a property of length. So this may create issues when it comes to issues while developing things and working on projects. Okay, so it's better to avoid these dynamic cases and or define the types explicitly. Okay. So let's come to object-oriented programming. What object-oriented programming technically is, you have real-world problems, and real-world problems require real solutions, and you want to solve them by writing code. So you do create classes like they are lifelike objects, and you give out them some properties. Those properties can be anything. Let's say for me, property is I'm a person, right? So I have a property that I have a name. I have a first name, I have a last name, right? And other attributes which I have, like my height, my weight, etc., etc. So, so my person class will contain all my properties, right? And there might be another person, let's say my twin brother, who will have the same properties. So he may be like a similar, he may be exactly similar to me, right? So we are what? We are just objects. We are instances. Okay. So if I have a son in future, so he will be what? He will be an instance of myself. He will be an object of myself. So instance and object are exactly the same thing. Okay. So yeah, I have a class, and then I can have multiple objects and instances about this. So let's say in this case, I have color and number. So I can have multiple objects and instances. So when people or builder or like when builders create townships, they have a blueprint of a single house. Okay, using the single blueprint, they can create multiple houses, thousands of houses inside the township. So that technically happens so that these blueprints are the classes, and these all houses are these houses are the instances or objects. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to discuss like this is a famous oops concept project which people create. It's called card game. So you might have played cards. Okay. So in cards we have four suits: spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs. And every card, like 52 cards make up a deck. Okay. Cool. We have ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 till 10. Then we have joker, we have queen and king. Okay. So we are going to create a card game today. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Varun. It does support inheritance, polymorphism, overloading. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's also support like when you use widgets, right? You use widgets in Flutter. So widgets are nothing; they are just classes, okay, which are extending another class. So what that extension may be, it may be a stateless extension or a stateful extension. So extension technically means you have an existing class and you are extending it with the extra properties, okay. So stateless with this property get copied away into that class which you're using, or reused or edited. You can say it totally depends upon what how you're using it, okay. So if I go over here, okay, cool. If my screen is visible, so you can see in Flutter we have uh, stateful widgets, right? We have stateful widgets, and these are nothing. These are classes, okay? So yellow bird is a class which extends stateful widget. Okay. Similarly, you have stateless widgets. So every whatever you use in Flutter, these are technically classes. These widgets are technically classes. Okay. So what we are going to learn today will be entirely applicable to your Flutter code as well, because you deal with classes all the time. Because Flutter is all about widgets, and widgets are nothing. These are just classes being extended into a particular form, or inheriting properties from different places, right? Cool. So now I will just go over to Dartpad. Okay. Okay. So in a card, in a deck, we have 52 cards. Is my screen visible? And every card has two properties. Okay. What is the first property? The first property is that it will have a rank. Okay. Rank means ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, joker, queen, king, right? So these are what? These are ranks. And we also have what? Suit. So suit are club, diamonds, heart, and likewise. Okay. So we have how many suits? We have 4 suits, and we have how many ranks? We have 10. Then we have Joker, Queen, King. So we have in total how many? 13. Okay. So for our case, we'll not take all the 13 ranks because I'll let you know why. Okay. So now we have to start. We have to actually do what is we have to create a game, a card game. Okay. So what that card game will do, it will make a deck for us. What is a deck? A deck is a collection of 52 cards. Okay. And we will also have a method, so which will print all the cards we have. Okay. We'll have a function called shuffle, which will shuffle all the cards we have. And we can obviously we'll also have a function which will allow us to create or take out a card out of a deck. Okay. And we'll also have a function which will remove a card from that particular deck. So we are taking this example. This is actually a very famous example where you deal with cards and you create classes, you create constructors, you learn how to do things. Okay. So are you guys aware like what constructors are? Okay, I'll just give an example. Oh, I think I should just project this. Okay. Cool. So before we go any further, let me just okay. So that's how we create a class first. We create a class, we name our class. So let's say in our case, we'll name it a person. Okay, a person will have a first name. Okay. So it will be of explicitly string type. Yes, absolutely, Nilesh. It will be as the same name as the class name and used for initialization. So a person will have a first name. So every insan has a name, right? Every person has a name. So I will just give it first name. Okay. And we will have a print name function, which will do what? Which will print our name. Okay. Am I going too fast, or is anybody left behind? Is anybody not able to catch up like what's going on? Then please do let me know, because these are the concepts which I have already covered in the previous tech drill. I'm just revising them for the sake of understanding. So if anyone has difficulty understanding this, so please do let me know. And these are basic concepts. We are going to dive into that project. That project will give us a brief and a better understanding how to use them in an advanced manner. Okay. So cool. So like every other Dart program, we have to create a main function. Inside this main function, I will first make an instance of that class. Okay. So name of the class is person. So I will just name my class as my person. Okay. And I will create an instance from person class. Okay. Okay, this has to be of type variable. Cool. So now I have created an instance of this class called person, and I have named that object or instance as my person. Okay. Now I know it has a property called first name. And I want to change it. So how I will access it? I will just type my person, and I will write first name and I will do it as Yash. Okay. So now the name has been assigned as Yash. Now I want to print this name. So I already have a print name function inside my person class. So what functions you write inside the class, these are called methods. Okay. And these things which you define are called properties of that class. So these are properties and these are methods. Okay. There's one more thing called constructors. To that I will come as well. Okay. Cool. Okay. Now I will print my person dot print name, and I will try to run this. So you can see the name is being printed. So that's how we give values and how we access methods. Okay. So you can see for naming this one thing, I had to write 2 lines of code. Okay. So this is very bad approach to write things. I mean, this is absolutely very time consuming. Imagine if I have a class of 20 people, 30 people, then I have to do this all over again. So this is going to lead to, a lot of code redundancy. So we don't want that, right? And we are absolutely sure that if there's a person, so a person always have a first name. Okay. So we want this thing to be pre-assigned. Like we don't want it to be declared again and again. We want it to be, as soon as we create the instance of this class, we want the name to be assigned in a pre-assigned manner. Okay. So for that purpose, we have constructors. So what constructors will do, I will just, I will comment this. Okay. Yeah. So we go inside our person class and we create a function. Function means a method. Okay. I will create a method with the same name as the name of the class. Okay. So I create a method, like we create a method. Okay. Now I want first name to be available to me, right? So this function will take a argument. Okay. I will type here first name. Okay. Let's say name in my case. Okay. And the name is equal to first name. Okay. So now I have given this name as first name, and you can see now there is a red line coming below this person declaration. Why is it coming? Because I have given it an argument. So as soon as I give an argument to this constructor, it will ask something for me. Okay. If I type here Yash, and if I run it, okay, there might be some issue here. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when you write constructors, this thing is actually taking a lot of space, right? So instead of writing it this way, we can also write it this way. That is this dot first name. So Dart, unlike other languages, Dart does not focus like it will not stress you to absolutely use this, right? Can we implement stateless widget here? Like in this Dartpad? Yeah, Dartpad has a feature like you can run Flutter code. But I will not go into that. You can absolutely switch it. I think there's an option somewhere. Anyway, you can create a new pad, and that new pad will be created if you want to write Flutter code. Okay. So if I create a new pad, okay. You can select which option you want to develop in. If you want to write Dart code, then you can go with this. If you want to write Flutter code, then you can go with this. So we are currently dealing with Dart, so I'll just stick to Dart here. And I will cancel it. Okay. Cool. Now we have created a constructor to this, right? So now I have just given the value to this constructor as it required me to say. Okay. So now it's entirely done. and I can simply print this up. So now it's coming up. Okay. So previously what we had is we had this code. Okay. This code will also give you the same output. Okay, this is giving me a null output. Okay, because I have, okay, I'm not assigning it to be. So what's going to happen is, okay, first name. So when you're going to create programs, what you're going to deal with a lot of redundancy. So this thing will technically have to be in this way because I'm not aware what kind of first name it is. So this first name is actually referring to first name inside this function, and this first name is actually referring to this property of the class. Okay, so to avoid all of this confusion, it's better to write it in a this dot first name manner. Okay, so if you try to run this, it runs just fine. Cool. Yeah. So that's how you create constructors, and that's how you can use them. Okay. Cool. Now we will just erase all of this code, and we will come back to our card game. So yeah, we have a deck. So let's create a class called deck, and we have a card. Okay. So let's create a class called card. Okay. Cool. Just a minute. Okay. So card has two properties. Like we discussed, card has two properties. First is rank, second is suit. Okay. So in our case, we will just write string rank string suit. Okay. Is it fine? Are you guys following up like what we are creating? We are creating a card game to understand the OOPS concept, that is object-oriented programming. Okay, cool. So we have a deck, we have a card, and a card has two properties. First is its rank, second is its suit. Rank are the numbers, suit is the color, no, not the color, suit are something like diamond, club, hearts, likewise. Okay, cool. Now, in case of deck, what do we have? Okay. So deck actually contains what? A deck is a collection of cards, right? So when I talk about collection, what I'm talking about an array. I'm talking about a list. Okay. So a deck is a list of 52 cards, right? So I will write here list, and this list is of what? Like what this list will contain, right? So this list will actually contain what? Card. Okay. And I will name this list as cards because this is a group of cards, right? And okay, so now inside deck we have just one property, that is list. Inside card we have two properties, that is rank and suit. Am I clear? Are you guys carrying up? In case of Dart, Varun, you can absolutely treat list as in form of an array. So I can absolutely call list an array. Okay. Okay. So are you guys following up? Like, is it clear as of now? Okay. So you can see we have two classes. Okay, Nilesh. So syntax of writing a list is first you write the keyword list, like you write string. In the same way you write list. Then you define the type of list, like what this list actually contains. So in our case, it contains what? Card. Okay. So let's say I'll create a list for you, and if I want to create a list of strings, okay, so how I will write is I will write a list string and names. Okay, so this is how you define a list of string. Similarly, if you want to create a list of numbers, then that's how you define a list of numbers. Okay, if you want to create a list of Boolean expressions, then you just type here bool, and you type here yes no. Okay, so that's how you create a list in Dart. Okay, cool. So in this case, you can see the color of card is different here, and the color of string in bool are different. This is because this card actually is showing the objects of this class, and the name of this class is what? Card. Okay, so you can see I can make a list of class, which means in Flutter I can make a list of widgets as well. Are you getting my point? So if I can make a list of class, so widgets are also classes, so I can absolutely make a list of theirs itself, right? So this is how exactly widgets like listview.builder work in Flutter. They actually build up, they actually have this class, and they just stack them up in form of a list, and they show it them in form of a horizontal or a vertical list. Okay. So the functions or the widgets which Flutter provides you with, you can actually create them on your own. Okay. You can absolutely create your own custom widgets. So I will just remove all of this. So now we have deck. Deck has a property that it's a collection of 52 cards, and card has two properties, that it has rank and suit. Okay. Now I will create a main function. Okay. I've created a main function. So it will not return us anything. So it's void. Now I want to create a deck. Okay. Now I want to create a deck. So that deck will be, I will name it as where my deck equals to, what I'm doing is I'm creating an object from my class deck. Okay. So I will write a new keyword. So this new keyword is actually not necessary for you to write. Okay. But I do write it because it looks better, and I'm able to understand like where did I initialize, where did I create my object of the class. So if you won't write it, it won't affect. Okay, it's just for better readability for me, because after Dart 1.5 or 2, I guess, they actually removed this need of new keyword. Okay, cool. So now I have created an instance of my deck class. Okay, now what will happen? Now I want to generate my deck. Okay, so there is no data as of now. There is no suits. There is no rank as of now. So let's first create a list. Okay. So let's just create a list. So you just saw like how we create a list here, right? Okay. So there's one more list if you want to type in data for that, right? So you can use this way also. Okay. So I will just type where ranks. Okay. And I will type where suits. Okay. Cool. Now I am using dynamic typing here. Okay. So Dart will actually understand what kind of data I'm writing, and it will allow me like what's going to happen. Okay. So you can see right now this list has a type dynamic. Okay. Now let me add something. Let's say I add rank as 1. No, in case of cards, we have ace, right? So you can see now the list has converted to list string ranks. Okay, I will type 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can go on until 13. After 10, it will be Joker, Queen, and King. Okay, so I will just make it till 5, because if I make them more than 5, then this area, this upper right area will get totally, flushed up with a lot of data, and it will be hard for me to show you in Google Meet, because I had to zoom out a lot. Okay. And in case of suits, we have 4 suits. We have clubs, we have diamonds, we have hearts, and what is the last one? Can anybody tell me? Club, diamond, hearts, and moth. So we have club, diamond, hearts, and spades. Okay. Cool. Okay, now we have a list of ranks and a list of suits. But our cards inside our deck are still empty. Okay. These are still empty. So we want this list to be filled with cards. Okay. So what we have to do is that this is where we use concept of looping. So like in every other language which you learn, they all have loops, different kind of loops, while loops, do while loops, for loops, likewise. Okay. So I will use a for loop here. Okay. So what we are going to do is, first we are going to loop on suits. Okay. And after looping on suits, we will loop on the ranks, because every suit will have 13 ranks, right? So first we will create a loop on suits, then we will create a loop on ranks. So in this way, this will become a nested loop. Okay. Are you getting my point? So first we are looping on the suits we have. We have 4 suits, and for each suit we have to loop over 13 times. Okay, because we have 13 cards in one suit. Is it clear? Are you guys following up? Cool. Thank you so much, Shubhangini. Thank you so much, Dharamveer. Thank you so much, Lailesh. Okay. So I will write a for loop. And first of all, I want to go inside suits. Okay. So I will write for suit. Okay. In suits. Cool. So this syntax actually, this is called, this actually what I'm doing is, I'm actually for every suit inside suits, I'm running this loop. Absolutely, Varun. Okay. So for every suit, I'm running suits, running inside suits. So I have 4 suits here. That is spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs. So I'll be looping it 4 times. So this actually will take up the length for me. So in this case, the length for suits is 4. Okay, so instead of writing that for int I less than list dot length and then I plus plus, this is a better way to write things. Okay, I can do the same thing, then I have to write the dot length thing, right? So you can do that or this. So this will actually make the code look much more clearer and easy to understand. You don't have to define those limits, lesser than, greater than. Okay, so first loop, it will be for the suits, and then second loop will be for, oh sorry, you have to add a var here, because absolutely how will it understand like which suit it is? Okay, cool. So this for loop exactly, okay, we are writing it like we write anything, but for deck, okay, we need a, first of all, what we need a constructor function. Okay, so then only we can write these loop codes, loop commands in there. Okay, so basic to create a constructor function is to write deck. Okay, that's how you create a constructor function. Make sure the name of class should be equal to the name of the function exactly, and then I can write my I'll just cut paste my list, paste them here. Okay. And then I will type for where suit in suits loop body start. Then we will start another loop, and this time for where rank in ranks. Okay, cool. Are we holding up? Okay, so first loop will loop with 4 suits, and second will rule loop with the ranks. Okay, so these are the ranks we have, these are the suits we have. All right. Now I will create a variable card. So this variable card will actually be an object of the class card. Okay. So I will call up the class card, like new card. Okay. And this will contain the current rank and suit. Okay. Now rank suit auto argument accepted. Okay. Removing extra arguments. Okay, this will end, this will end here. This will end here. I need to understand what the issue is here. So we have a class card and we are not able to access it. Why? We have this loop ending here. We have this ending here. And we have this ending here. Okay, cool. Give parameters and class card. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Card equals to new card. Oh, okay. We did not create constructors for it. Okay, my bad. So we have to just create a card constructor. Okay. Cool. And then we will just write this. Instead of writing it this way, this dot rank, this dot suit, and we are good to go. Okay, now we can write in a parameter. So you have to just make sure that, like, I forgot to create constructor for that. So you will be reminded again and again likewise. I will write here rank and then I will write here suit. And now everything seems in place. Thank you so much, Momik, Shubham, and Varun. Yeah, okay, cool. Now we want this card to be added inside our list, right? Our deck. I want this to be added to our deck. Okay. So I will just type card dot add, and then I'll add card. Okay. So now it's telling us that the method has been defined for card. Okay, not an issue. Cool. Okay. Method add is not defined for card. Cool. I will just try and read it over again. Okay. Cool. Actually, the name of our this is cards. Okay. We are just ignoring the fact. So this will be cards dot add, and this will be card. Cool. Is it fine? If we run, we should have no errors. Cool. No errors. Okay. Now we have the card working out. So we have all the cards added to our cards list, right? Okay, so now this list is being populated from this for loop. So now all the cards should be available in this. Okay, so now let's try to print this. Okay, so let's try to print my deck. So now what do you people expect, like what's going to happen? Are we going to get the cards? Any guesses? Okay, not an issue. No one is responding. It's all right. So I'll just run this up. And you can see what I'm getting is I'm getting an instance of deck. Okay, so before why are we getting this? So before understanding this, we have to understand what print function actually does. So print function always listens to data which is coming from a particular type. Okay, so it can be a string, it can be you can say integer, it can be a bool, and likewise. But in case of my deck, okay, my deck is not a normal data type. It's an object of a card class. Okay, so to make this happen, okay, to make this understandable to our print function, we have to make sure that there is a .toString function. So print accepts strings, absolutely right. So when we are creating our class, okay, inside that class we can write a method called .toString. So that toString is a predefined keyword function. Okay, it already is. It already comes with that, right? So what toString does, I will just show you. Let's say I create a string. Okay, I will name it. I will write hello. Uh, let's give it dynamic. Okay, name equals to hello. I will print this name. So this will print hello for me. Okay, it's printing. Now I will do it 1, 2, 3. Okay, why is it happening? Yeah, because I have not put the. I'm getting 1, 2, 3, right? Now I want to. I have this function called .toString. Okay. So again, I will get the same output, but now the type of the output is string. So this is a use of .toString function. Okay. So name I'm getting is integer, but what I'm getting after that is getting converted into string. Okay. So similarly, in case of deck, these are of the type card because card is the object of the class card which we created. Okay. So all these cards are the objects of the class card. So to allow us to actually print that, we will have to actually create a function called toString function. Okay. And what this function will do, it will actually return. Okay. It will return cards into string format. Okay. Let me just erase this part which I explained. Okay. Are you guys following up? Like, what's the use of .toString? It just converts the current component or the current thing into a string. That as simple as that. Okay. Cool. Now let's try to print this. Okay. Now let's see what happens. We are inside my deck. Now what's happening is these are being printed instance of card, instance of card, instance of card again and again. So why is this happening? Can anybody tell me? This is happening because this card should also have a toString function because what will it return and how we will read it, right? Card is again an object. It's not a data type in Dart, right? It's not an integer. It's not a string, right? So again, we have to create a toString function. And this time what we have to return? We have to return the rank, okay? So we will just write it in string interpolation way. Return rank of $suit. Okay. And just put them here. Okay. Cool. Yeah, absolutely, Varun. You're totally correct. Okay. Now let's try to run this. Okay, now we are getting the required output which we wanted to get. We are getting ace of clubs, 2 of clubs, 3 of clubs, 4 of clubs, 5 of clubs, ace of diamonds. Okay, so now that's what we have done. So let me just wrap it up again. Like what we did, we first created a class called deck. Okay, this is the class deck. Okay, so in the class deck we had a list, and what this list contains cards, and the name of this list is cards in lowercase. All right, then we have a constructor function which is deck. Okay, now inside deck we have two lists. First list is of ranks, which contains ace 2 3 4 5 until 13, like king, queen, and jack. And we have suits. Suits contain all the suits we have: club, diamond, spades, and hearts. After that, we are populating this list. So to populate that list, we have nested loops. So loop 1 is actually looping over the suits, and loop 2 is looping over the rank, that is 1 2 3 until 13. Okay. Then we have a toString function. So we are using this toString function to actually print our output inside into our log. Okay. So this was a deck class. Now we have another class called card. So card has a constructor function, so which allows us to directly pre-assign data from there itself, like here. Okay. And it has two properties, rank and suit. And again, we have a toString function so that we can print it out in the console. Okay. Cool. So coming back to our presentation, our first task is done. We are able to create a deck and we are able to print it. So these two tasks are done. We created a deck, we printed a deck. Okay. Now we want to shuffle the deck, because absolutely when you play cards, shuffling is a very important factor. That's how you create randomness. Okay. So yeah. So I want to shuffle this, right? So before I want to shuffle, I need to understand like how to shuffle. And suppose I don't know how to shuffle. So what should I do? I should go to Dart API. Okay. Now this is the documentation of Dart. So I'll tell you like how to actually refer to documentation and how to use it. Okay. So I will go inside these. These are the core libraries which come pre-installed when you install the Flutter framework. Okay. So I'll go inside this Dart core library. Okay. Okay. Now we have multiple classes here. You can see on the right hand side. So I'm interested in a particular type called list. Okay. So I will go inside list. So now this list has all the required data and all the required operators, constructors, and methods. You can see the first thing contains constructor. Second is properties. Third are methods. And fourth are operators and static methods. So likewise, so these are simply just classes, and we are just reusing and modifying and using their methods. Okay. So let's come to the methods. So list has multiple methods. So we actually use one of the method called list.add, right? Add all, it appends all the objects of the iterable to the end of the list. Okay. Any, as, map, cast, clear, removes all the objects. Okay. I'm just interested in shuffling it. So let's see if we have something called shuffle. Yeah, we have this called shuffle. So now I will be able to use this. since it's that's how we I have this method available in case of list. Okay, so I will go inside my Dartpad, and this time I will type my deck dot just a minute. Okay, the deck isn't defined in the type deck. Okay, sorry. We are doing it at the wrong place. Okay, I think we should actually type it here. Cards.shuffle, right? Okay. My deck. Okay, shuffled equals to my deck cards shuffle. Okay. What's the issue? Expression is a type void. So okay, I need this to be entirely my deck. Okay, what will happen if I void shuffle random? Actually, random actually means here is like some random fashion. You can actually add a method if you want it to randomize in a particular way. Let's say I want it to be yeah, create method. Yeah. Actually, I just have to make sure. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, where were we? Okay, just a minute. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. I totally had to take care of this. So we have a my deck. So inside deck, if you want to use a particular thing to be like happening, okay. So we have to create a method. So let's create a method called shuffle. Okay, thank you so much, Mommy. Absolutely. All right. So now we have to just type in cards. So since cards is the main list which we have, and we need to shuffle this up. So cards dot shuffle. Okay. All right. So yeah, now we can simply go over here and print my deck dot shuffle. Okay. And so yeah, our third task was to shuffle, right? Okay. So now you can see ace of clubs and two of clubs. Okay, we are getting a null value. Why are we getting a null value? Why are we getting a null value? Where is the shuffle function? It is not being used. Okay. My deck dot shuffle. Cool. Okay. So now it's shuffle, right? Okay. Thank you so much, Momik. Actually, I was just pondering upon some different thing. Can we perform dot shuffle dot toString of that class? By that means we will directly get it. Yeah, absolutely, Ramvi. You can combine multiple things. But I am not able to actually redirect myself to the particular issue I was facing. Anyways, it's working fine now. So it sometimes happens when you're projecting in front of a large crowd, you end up forgetting a lot of things. So yeah, uh, now we are able to shuffle it up, and now we want particular cards to be called out from the suit, right? So now let's create that particular function. Okay. So I will go inside my deck constructor. Yeah, absolutely, Mohammed. You can import it and use it as well. So let's create another function, and this time the function should be cards with suit. Okay. So I just want to print cards with a particular suit. So I'll just go back to Dartpad. I will create a function cards with suit. Okay. Now again, cards with suit will use what? So I want to identify cards where they have a particular suit. So understand the keyword where. So I think there should be something in the API which allows me to use, allows me to, to do this task. So I will just go back again to my core, into my list, and I'll check if I have something called where. Okay, I have something called where. Okay, so I can use this, right? So I will just go back to my Dart pad, and now I should be able to use. Now I just want to return those cards. Okay, how to return cards where. Okay. So now let me check what where function actually takes as input. So where will actually take a test function, and if that test function is true, then it will get executed. Okay, for every element in that list. Are you getting my point? So where function actually takes the function, okay, test e element, and if it returns true, then it will execute whatever it is told to execute. Okay. So this is the use. This is how you use where. So I'll go back to my Dartpad, and I want to deal with what? I want to deal with a single card comparison. Okay. So I will just type here card. Okay. Now I will start my function, and what this function will do, it will find a card of a particular suit. Okay. So to use suit here, I need to use suit inside this argument. Okay. So I will type here suit. Okay. So I will type card dot suit equal to the current suit. So yeah, if this thing turns out to be true, okay, then it will return all the cases where this suit is present. Is this clear? Yeah, Bombay, you can use. You have no foundation. You can absolutely use this. Okay. So I'm getting these blue lines because I don't have a written type mentioned here. So as of now, I'm just allowing it to stay as it is. Okay. So yeah, I'm just finding out. This is a function I have written inside my where clause. Okay, and this will execute everything for me. Okay, so let's just try to run this up. Mm, let's just run it here. Card with suit, right? Card with suit. and I want my suit to be, let's say, diamonds. Okay. So let's just check again cards with suit, and we are taking in a parameter suit, and then we have a particular, we have the body of the function, and inside function we are returning cards, and inside where clause we are writing card, and inside card we have another function which, if true, will give us the desired output. Okay. So let's try to run this out. So on line 54 we have some issue. Okay. Okay, after suit I had to add this. Okay, what's happening here is I'm again getting the same output. Okay, let's just cut it up, paste it here, and then run this out. Boolean expression must be not null. Why are we getting this issue? Okay. Okay, got it. So we are getting this because we don't have, I don't know what's the issue with Dartpad. It just erases what I write. Okay. Cool. Any more issue? Can you guys see? We have card, we have this function ending here, we have where close, and if it's true, it will return it. Okay. Okay, let's see what happens. Assertion failed, Boolean uncaught expression. Let me check. Cards with suit. Let me try to write it in a arrow function way so that it's clear, because Dartpad is having some issue right now. I'm writing something, it's erasing. If I write here, it will erase it for me. I don't know what's wrong with this. Why is it erasing? I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Return cards dot where, inside where clause I will write card. Okay, this is called arrow function. If you want to subject your code to one single function execution, then you can use this. Okay. Cool. It looks good to me. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Okay. Are you guys there? Cool. Okay, so now we are able to get what we wanted. Actually, Dartpad is having some issues with the indentation or the typing. I'm not sure. If I type something, it just erases the other character. So yeah, finally we're able to do it. And sorry for the inconvenience caused. Okay, so now we are able to get what we wanted. We wanted cards from my deck with the suit called diamonds. Okay, so now we have all the cards with the suit diamonds. Okay. Okay, now let's come to the last part. That is, we want to remove a card. Okay, to remove a card, we have to again write a similar method inside our deck class. Remove card, and remove card will again take. So now remove card will take two things. Okay, since every card has two properties, that is suits and its rank. So remove card will take two parameters, two arguments, or two arguments actually, and one will be suits and the second will be rank. Okay. So I will type here the type of suit and the type of rank. Okay. I will start my function. And now I want to know, like, now I want to do two things. First thing is I want to find where the card is present, and then I have to remove it. So here are two things happening. Okay, so I want to check if Dart already gives those API for me to me for free. So let's just go to the remove part. Okay, was here because the where function doesn't return anything. Since arrow function auto return. Yeah, actually, John, the issue was actually I was trying to do the same thing and it works perfectly fine, but I totally don't recall what was causing the issues because I was having some issue with the semicolon or the assigning. It was very confusing for me. The Dartpad was not responding in that way. Okay, when I wrote it, when I was creating it, I actually wrote it in that way. Okay, cool. So we have a function, we have a method called remove where, which allows us to remove, first of all, find that particular element and then remove it. Okay. So what it again takes up a function, and if it's true, it will do the desirable thing for us. Okay. So let's just write inside our code. Okay. So the name was remove where. Okay. Now inside remove where, I am going to create a card. Okay. And I want this to be returned ASAP as this is able to find true value. Okay. I want to check that if cards suit equals the suit and card dot rank equal to rank. Okay, cool. And we have to just end it with a semicolon. Okay, cool. Is it clear as of now? Like what we did right here? Yeah, Varun, absolutely. I have both of the codes. I will absolutely share them with you guys. Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. So now we want to remove a particular card. Okay. So let's just come here and we will type here my deck dot remove card. This is the method which we just created. And now I want to give in two arguments. So first one will be, so here we have ace of diamonds, right? So I want to remove this. So let's type ace, and the second parameter will be diamonds. Okay, cool. Now let's try to run this. So let's try to write the Spring function after this. Okay. Ace of diamonds is still coming. Oh, okay. Okay, just a minute, just a minute. So what we did is when we created this function remove card, right? So first we are now here the arrangement actually matters. The way in which you are writing matters. So first I'm writing suit, second I'm writing rank. So to avoid this kind of confusion, people create named parameters. Okay. So if I just remove this, right? If I just so the sequence actually is creating issue here, and Dartpad is also being a pain. So you can see now Ace of Diamonds has vanished. So we are successfully able to remove cards now. So we finally understood what classes are, how we understood how to make a deck, we understood how to print cards, we understood how to shuffle them, and we understood how to take out a particular card with a particular suit and rank, okay, with a particular suit in this case. And also we understood how to remove that particular card. We had some issues because Dartpad, I don't know what happens when I increase its zoom level, that it just starts to eliminate every letter after this cursor. If I'm going to type another S, it will just eliminate this bracket. So sorry for the inconvenience caused. But I hope you people are able to understand like what classes are and how we use them. We have few more things remaining like getter. Okay. Uh, what will just a minute. I'll have to make it right first. Mm, my God. Okay, cool. So let me just go over this once more. Okay. Cool. So we created two classes. This was deck, and these are all the methods inside this deck. Okay, and this is our class card, and this is the constructor. These are the properties, and this is again a method. Okay, cool. So we have this main function, and the main function we are creating an object of our class deck, and then we wrote multiple functions, multiple methods. So we created a deck, we printed those cards, we shuffled them, we then took out a particular card or particular cards with a particular suit, and we removed them. Okay. Then inside a deck we had a list of cards, and we created a constructor function. In constructor function, we created two lists of ranks and suits, and then we populated the data with the help of this for loop. For every level, we were adding up a card to it. Okay. Then we have a toString function. So we created this so that we can print it inside our console. This is our console. Okay. Then we shuffle them, and we have this method which just pulls out cards with a particular suit, and this remove card method which allows us to remove a card with a particular suit and the rank. Okay. Okay. Uh, just a minute. I have to just clear up my screen. Yeah. Uh, what will happen if we handle like what will happen if card is not there in the list? Already we will need to handle like first check if list is not empty, then perform removal of card, or this will throw an error. Yeah, you can absolutely check for everything, right? And if you don't have, then you have to handle it on your own. And if you have it, then you can absolutely, you know, so if data or the elements in that list are not present, or the length is lesser than 0 or not null, likewise, what data you have, it totally depends on that. So you can put a check and you can do the needful. Bhavik, copy paste all the code in chat box or GitHub. Actually, I will push this entirely on GitHub and you can access this, right? Okay, so there's one more thing which you can use. These are called named parameters. So like you had issue while accessing because the sequence was incorrect, right? So if you want named parameters to be taken into consideration, then you can add these curly braces. Okay, these curly braces just allows you to create named parameters. So it will no longer matter what sequence you are writing things in. You can just write them right away. Okay. Okay. So like here, if you create a new card, right? So you can write named parameter here as rank, which will be rank, and then you have suit. This will be suit. So that's how you write named parameters. So if you have worked with Flutter before, you can see every class has the named parameters. You create a material app class or you create a scaffold. In that scaffold, you write app bar. Okay. So that app bar is nothing. It's a named parameter which allows you to access another class app bar. Okay. Like, okay. So here we have a scaffold. Okay. You can see we have a named parameter here. And this just allows us access to another class app bar. Our app bar also has a name parameter called title, and then it takes up a class or let's say a widget, which is what we are dealing with. Okay, so these are the name parameters you can create. So let's say if you have a name like my rank, then you can write it here. Likewise. Okay, so I hope we covered things today and you learned few things. And there were a few technical glitches from my side, and I'm really sorry for that. Insert key, okay. I pressed insert key. Oh, okay. Now I understand. I might have pressed it, right? Oh, yeah, yeah. Uh, that's so fool of me. I'm really sorry. I think I pressed it accidentally and I wasn't able to realize it. Anyways, thank you so much, Lailesh. Thank you so much, Dharamveer. So, did we learn something today? Were we able to understand what classes are, what constructors are, what are variables, how we create lists, what are the type of lists you can create, how to create how to populate list, how to use loops. So we covered a lot of things today. What are methods you can create? What is toString method? How to refer to a documentation? How to just take reference from different documentations? So we learned it today, and we also learned like how Flutter takes in use of these classes, how Flutter uses these name parameters. What are the benefits of using type checks, and why is it a good thing? Why is it a bad thing? Uh, Thank you so much, Lailesh. Thank you so much, Varun. And about this code, I have it written on. Absolutely, I will just push them onto my GitHub ASAP. Okay. So yeah, that was a card game which I wanted to discuss. I believe we learned something. Now you people will be able to make your own widgets because widgets are absolutely just classes which are extending statelessness or statefulness. Okay. All right. Then what else we have on tomorrow's menu? Yes, Varun, absolutely. I will provide. Guys, there's one thing you have to take care. Whenever you attend any online event, make sure to check out the resources. And for resources, you should have that motivation inside you to access that particular group which the person has or the organization has shared with you. Okay. So everything, the video, the questions, and the code, whatever we discussed today, will be entirely posted into our Discord server, and you can access it from there. Okay. And like for tomorrow, tomorrow we'll be learning how to fetch data from the internet and what are the HTTP requests we can work and how to use any particular API to bring in data into our application. Yeah, we have a Flutter channel and you can go into that. So if you have any complaints, please do tell me inside this Google Meet chat. I will try to focus on them and improve on them. And if you have any issues with the flow which I'm delivering things, I will improve that too. So your feedback is very, very important, just like participation. Feedback is very important for me. So just make sure that you do that because I love people who criticize me. So I absolutely love you, all the people. So I'll just love you more if you criticize me. All right. So make sure you just let me know how is it going.